Overseas now, attacks by Israel on Iran are expanding, and so is the crossfire. Tonight, Israel's Iron Dome defense system intercepted a new volley of attacks from Iran. We get more now from CBS's Deborah Patta in Amman, Jordan.
Good evening. Iran has launched another wave of strikes against Israel, and the stakes could not be higher for the embattled region as Tehran has called off planned nuclear talks with Washington scheduled for Sunday. This is the moment Iran struck Tel Aviv in a series of retaliatory strikes early Saturday. The conflict between the longtime foes has escalated dramatically and is now heading into its third night. As waves of Iranian missiles rain down, some made it through Israel's air defense systems, smashing into homes, injuring dozens and killing at least 3 Israelis. But that toll was dwarfed by the damage Israel inflicted on Iran. Iran says more than 60 people and nearly 30 children have died. And Israel says it has killed 9 Iranian scientists and has targeted oil, gas and nuclear facilities in a bid to cripple the country's nuclear capacity. And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he is not done yet. We will hit every site and every target of the Ayatollah's regime, Netanyahu said. What they have felt so far is nothing compared to what's coming. This is the largest and longest exchange of military strikes between the two rivals ever. Prime Minister Netanyahu today went further, hinting at regime change. Jarika telling the people of Iran that these strikes clear a path for them to unite and stand up for freedom.
Deborah Patta, thank you for your reporting.
Revelations chapter 8, verse 13. And I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, 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 to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the 3 angels, which are yet to sound. That like say, Kolim Lai Al Bashim Al Shai. Also, with the bonus of GMS and honest Joachim. Peace and bless you, brothers and sisters that listen to Church of the Firstborn, the hopeful elect, Kolim Lai Al Bashim Al Shai. Started with Revelation, the 8th chapter, the 4th angel, which we know there's 7 angels and the 7 trumpets, each sounding the alarm. And different judgments are playing out on the planet Earth. Which, we did videos on this before. The first of the 4th angel, that's going into the final destruction. The 5th angel is World War I. The 6th angel is where we at right now. Right? War brewing at the great river Euphrates. Right? Bringing all these nations down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. And of course, the 7th angel, when he blow his trumpet, it is done. Right? But when the 4th angel blew his trumpet, he said, Woe, woe, woe. 3 major world wars, the greatest wars, have to play out. Right? Scripture tells you in Revelation, the 9th chapter, that the 2nd woe was past, and that the 3rd woe cometh quickly, and we're in the midst of it right now. The official beginning of World War III. Israel and Iran has officially locked horns. Last year they were jabbing at each other, right? Then it stopped. The escalation, it de-escalated when Trump came into office, right? And then Trump, when we get this article right here, was supposed to be having some sort of peace negotiations with Iran, right? Nuclear negotiations, because Israel feel that Iran is on the verge of becoming a nuclear power. Even though these Amalekites, they're nuclear power. America's the only country that has ever officially used a nuclear bomb, but they're telling police in the world, telling other nations that you can't have it, man. Okay? And right when they're supposedly on the verge of making a deal, Israel went ahead with a preemptive strike. Right? Because these devils, these Amalekites, they don't want peace. And above all, it's the will of Yahweh Bashim Al Sham. Get that precept. But let's read these articles first, though. Right? It says, Iranian official leading. Let's see. Let's see, right. So it says Iranian official leading nuclear negotiations with Trump killed by Israel, jeopardizing breakthrough deal. So right when Trump is on the cusp of sealing this deal, this guy got assassinated and taken out. Israel went ahead and struck Iran. Okay, let's read a little bit of the article. It says just 2 days before U.S.-Iran nuclear negotiations were set to begin, Israel assassinated a high-ranking Iranian official leading the talks, putting the breakthrough deal at risk. Ali Shamkhani was one of the several Iranian officials killed in Israel's surprise attack early Friday morning. Shamkhani served as a close aide to Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and was responsible for securing an agreement that restored diplomatic ties between Iran and Saudi Arabia, which they're going to come together anyway. That's 2nd Ezra the 15th chapter. The dragons of Arabia and the Carmanians, right? Which in the past, they never liked each other because one is Sunni and the other is Shiite, and they fund proxy wars against one another, but they have a common enemy, and the common enemy are these Amalekites, Israel, man. All right, Israel, man. See, World War III, man. All right. Now we know Israel went ahead and did that attack on Friday. They killed 78 people, I believe. I believe the death toll went up. And it tells you children, high-ranking commanders, this diplomat right here, and nuclear scientists died in that attack, man. So there will be no peace, man. See, and they tried to destroy the uranium stockpiles, right? Iran say they're using it for energy. They say, nah, you guys are using it to create weapons. But Iran is a sovereign nation, man. They could do what the hell they want to do, man. But that's Aishah, that's the pride of Edom, especially these Amalekites, man. So that's the first article. All right, let's jump to the second. And we get these precepts, man. It says Netanyahu official aircraft lands in Athens. Oh, man. So Benjamin Netanyahu, he's not even in the land of Israel. And all that fucking talking this guy is doing, man. Right? And this guy love waging war, man. So his plane officially landed in Greece. Okay, he's not even over there in Israel as the so-called leader of his nation. He abandoned those people, man. All right? Because he understand that Iron Dome ain't going to hold up against those type of missiles that Iran got. Yeah, against Hamas and Hezbollah, yeah. Those type of missiles, the big boys coming out, and it's about to get ugly, man. And of course, this lesson is going to how America is going to get drawn into this conflict, which is going to lead to this country being destroyed and the land of Israel, man. Right? Do a quick lesson to the power of Yahweh Shemel Shah. Right, we talked about this at camp. It says, now go to this third article. Even Trump supporters are kind of, even they on the edge, man. Like, yo, don't get involved in this. But this is what Tucker Carlson said. He said, which is supposed to be a huge MAGA supporter, huge MAGA idiot, MAGA tard. He said, Tucker Carlson turns on Trump. Ex-Fox News host blasts complicit president. They saying you in on it. Trump saying they were not. You in on it, man. All right. Complicit president for backing Israel after attacks on Iran. He said the MAGA star waited in after Israel and Iran traded missile strikes. He said Tucker Carlson has turned on President Trump. Or let me read on down. He said this could be the final newsletter before an all-out war. All right. And it's going to be an all-out war. They understand, man. They understand, man, the repercussions of attacking Iran. Because they understand Russia and China. They got all kind of business and economic deals with Iran, right? They have their own little alliance because they're against the U.S.-led international order, especially Russia, man, right? When you look it up, Russia and Iran, they strengthened their relationship over the years because they both hit by sanctions, man, right? And their relationship has evolved over the years, and that goes exactly with Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. Right, and China has already come out and condemned Israel. The world is ready against people over here against what Israel is doing, man. These Amalekites, man. Right? But that's the least of the flock. And they're going to draw out the eagle, man. They're going to draw him out. Who? America. But let me read 2nd Ezra's, the 15th chapter. And I'm going to read 2nd Ezra's, the 6th chapter. And then I'm going to jump to the book of Jeremiah, man. Right? The scripture says, a lion have roared who cannot but prophesy, man. Okay? We in the time. This is prophecy, man. This is music to our ears. Okay? That's how the Lord is speaking. It's just, like I said in the book of Amos, lion have roared who not feared, the Lord have spoken who cannot but prophesy. How's the Most High speaking? Through prophecy, man. All right, let's get a book of 2nd Ezra. Now we know the scripture says Esau is the end of the world, Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Right? And the Most High told Ezra when he's going to do these things. Let me read after that. 2nd Ezra chapter 6. Verse 13. So he answered and said unto me, stand upon thy feet and hear a mighty sounding voice. And it shall be as where a great motion, but the place where thou standest shall not be moved. Let me jump on down. There we go. Verse 17. And as it happened, when I had heard it, I stood upon my feet and hearkened, and behold, there was a voice that spake, the sound that was like the sound of many waters, and said unto me, behold, the days come that I will begin to draw nigh, and I will to visit them that dwell upon the earth, and begin to make inquisition of them what they have. Oh, let's read verse 19 again. And will begin to make inquisition of them. So the Most High said that through his son, that he was going to make inquisition. Right? Or start examining the heathen for their wicked works. This is the time period that we're in right now. Right? The time of retribution. You Jakes, you always march for reparations. Nah, Yahweh Shem Shah, man, he going to give us reparations, man. And it starts with the downfall of our enemies. Right? Sirach said that, man. The 9 things that brought joy to his heart. Right? A man that have joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. And we in that time, man. Calling my Yahweh Shem Shah. So the Most High said he's going to make inquisition of them. What be that have hurt unjustly with their unrighteousness. And when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled. So our affliction has been fulfilled, as it tells you in the book of Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 21. Right? Our captivity is up. Now he's going to judge what? The nation of Edom. All right. And how is he going to do it? This third world's war. Right. It says, let me jump. 2nd Ezra chapter 15. So, right. So he said, when he's going to do these things, when the affliction of Zion shall be fulfilled. And we know the scripture talks about what? The 3 days and a half. The times, and the dividing of the times. The 350 years. Right? That's when Yahweh Shem Shah was going to start waking up his people and start making inquisitions into these nations and the councils of the ungodly. And what's his main purpose as you read Zephaniah, the 3rd chapter? Is to bring you nations down to the valley of Jehoshaphat and to pour upon you his indignation. Let's read that. 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 20. See, man, we in that time, man. So we're supposed to be happy, man. Call him Yahweh Shem Shah, man. He's about to avenge us and deliver us. 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 20. It says, and this whole chapter is also going into World War III, man. All right. Did videos on this before. I'll briefly read this verse. I just wanted to get some other scriptures going to this. All right. It says 2nd Ezra 15, verse 20. Behold, saith Yahweh Shem Shah, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me. Right? Which are from the rising of the sun, from the south and from the east and from Lebanon, to turn themselves one against another. Right? I want to bring all these nations to come reverence me, man. Right? How is he going to do that? Through his son, Yahweh Shai, man, who's going give the finishing blow, right? You can read that 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter, right? But it start with all you nations coming down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. And he said, what? To turn themselves one against another and repay the things they have done to them. Done to who? The Israelites. Like as they do this day unto my chosen, so will I do also, and recompense in their bosom. Thus saith Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shah, man. So it said the same thing you did to them. Scripture says the nations rejoiced when the 2 witnesses fell. Right? Psalms 83rd chapter. How can we cut them off from being a nation? Right? Then the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. Mosai said, I'm going to pay all you nations back. And how am I do that? Like he said, I'm going to bring you down. And I'm going to cause all you to come down to the valley of Jehoshaphat and turn themselves one against another. Okay? Y'all can destroy one another. Right? And that's payback for what he did, for what y'all did to the Israelites, man. That's the main reason behind this World War III, man. All right, now let me get the book of Jeremiah, where we at right now. Okay, let me get Jeremiah chapter 49, and I'm going to jump to the 50th chapter as well. Let's get a couple of precepts. These Amalekites, things is getting stirred up. And who's stirring it up? Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shah. He got the angels working on the mind of you leaders. Okay? And the full destruction not going to come yet until the servants of Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shah is sealed. But right now, these angels are working on the minds of men. Right? You can read that in the book of Daniel, the 10th chapter. Okay? The Most High rules in the kingdom of men, man. So they doing his will, man. All right, so let me get Jeremiah 49, and I'm going to jump to Jeremiah the 50th chapter. Our power is a power of war, man. Right? Christian church don't know that. I think he's all love and he loves everybody except, nah, our power is a power of war, man. Truth says when he's angry, who can stand before him? Right? That's why one of his titles is called Adashadra. That's why he's also called the Lord of Hosts or the Lord of Armies. Right? His armies consist of the angels. The Israelites also consist of the missiles, man. All right? So let's read that devastating star. That's his weapons in his armory. Let's read Jeremiah chapter 49. And that's going to destroy Babylon. Let's read Jeremiah 49 verse this 20. Right? It says, therefore, hear the counsel of Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shah. This is his plan. That he's taken against Edom. Who's Edom? The so-called white man today. Right? Going into the elites. You Babylonians. Right? You Europeans. Right? You Amalekites. Scripture says his purpose that he purposed against the inhabitants of Teman, which you read verse 7. Let you know that the wise men came out of Teman. The council came out of Teman. Which we believe today that's the Germans, man. Right? And they the ones who came up with those missiles. But the scripture says, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Who's the least of these Edomites? These Amalekites, man. These Amalekites, man. All right? That's in the land, our land, claiming our identity. They're the least of the flock. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. Okay? And the earth is moved at the noise of their fall. And at the cry, the noise thereof was heard in the Red Sea. So Babylon going to be desolate with the land of Israel. And when the land of Israel fall, the scripture says that what? The noise was going to be heard in the Red Sea. Okay? But before that happened, the scripture says, behold, he shall come up and fly as an eagle and spread his wings over Basra. Who? Babylon, America. Right? They're going to try to come to Israel's aid. Right? So the scripture says the least of the flock going to draw who out? America, man. The eagle. Right? And spread his wings over Basra, which we know Basra is the chief Edomite city. That's Babylon. Okay? But they're going to try to come to Israel's aid. And at that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom be as the heart of a woman in pangs, a woman in labor, a woman in travail. Okay, they not going to be willing to fight, man. This war is going to be devastating. And America's going to lose, man. Because it's not just going to be Iran. It's going to be Russia. Gog and Magog, man. Which is really Gog. And Magog is a land of God. Right? Scripture gives you Turkey. Okay? We know China. We know North Korea. So this thing is going to get... That's why the scripture tells you the mighty men of Edom going to be as the heart of a woman in her pangs. Okay, they going to be scared as hell, man. See, the scripture tells you that how, especially these Babylonians, you know, his heart is more stout than his fellas, but not in that day when this shit start really hitting the fan. Right, and there's going to be a draft too. We believe that through the spirit, man. Okay, and let's see you proud-blooded Americans who's going to be willing to go over there and fight and die. Okay, and any of you Israelites who sign up, that's going to be your burying ground, man. You are an enemy of the Lord. Right, if you join this man's armed forces. Now let's read Jeremiah the 50th chapter. That's what the scripture says, verse 43. The king of Babylon hath heard the report. He heard this report of them, and his hands waxed feeble. Anguish took hold of him, and pangs of a woman in travail. The same thing, the king of Babylon. So this is going into what? Babylon, man. Who's the king of Babylon? Psalms 137. The nation of Edom. That's why King David called you the virgin daughter of Babylon, who ought to be destroyed. They heard this report. The elite. All right. They're in great fear, man. They see us rising on our feet. Right. They know this place is going to be destroyed, but they're going to try to sidestep the prophecies, man. And they're going to go into captivity. Right. That's why they're going to come after the prophets in the midst of this World War III going on. And as he's about to fill his belly, as it tells you in the book of Job, the 20th chapter, the Most High going to rain upon him while he is eating. Okay. But anyway, let's read on. Let's jump to verse 45. Hear ye the counsel which expounds on Jeremiah 49th chapter. Hear ye therefore the counsel of Yahweh Shemel Shah, that he purpose against Babylon, and his purposes, that he purpose against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out, cause them to enter into the fight. These Amalekites, surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. At the noise of taking of Babylon, the earth is moved. Revelation 18th chapter, and the cry is heard amongst the nations, man. Right? Because this is the place that all these nations become rich, right? This is the greatest consumer market in the world, right? The great melting pot, Babylon the Great. So all these nations, man, when they see that smoke gonna go up for a long time, right? And the scripture says the earth gonna be moved because the missiles are gonna be hitting on both sides of the world, right? Babylon in the west and the land of Israel, the scripture says the fall of them gonna be heard in the Red Sea. So both countries are going down simultaneously, man. America and the land of Israel. But who's going to draw America into this fight? The land of Israel, the least of the flock, the least of these Edomites, man. This is the counsel of Yahweh Shemel Shah, man, that we see playing out right in front of us, man. All right, calling. So right now, like we said, the main thing we're supposed to be pushing is prophecy, man. As it started with the scripture, Revelation 8 chapter, the angel said, woe, 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 man. World War III, man. And the Most High said that he was going to lead Babylon into a land that's barren and desolate. Matter of fact, let's get that Joel the 2nd chapter. I may close it out with that. Joel chapter 2, verse 20. It says, but I will remove far off from you the northern army. Who's the northern army? That's America. Okay, this is the land of the north. See, and I would drive him into a land barren and desolate. There you go. So the Most High gonna bring them down there in that land, man, to aid who? Aid Israel. Okay, the least of the flock shall draw them out. That's why we also read. I didn't read that in this lesson, but Revelation the 16th chapter, right? But at the great river Euphrates, the valley of Jehoshaphat. Okay, the Most High is going to bring them down there, man, in the Middle East. with his face toward the east sea, which I believe that's the Dead Sea, and his hinder part toward the utmost sea, which I believe is the Mediterranean. And his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he have done great things, man. Right? That's what we read that in Jeremiah the 50th chapter. The mighty men of Edom, they're going to be like a woman in travail. Okay? So they stink going to come up. And all those nations' army, man. It's going to be it's going to be a great slaughter over there, man. And this place right here simultaneously is going to be destroyed, man. So the Most High, this is what he's doing right now. He's going to drive them into that land to aid these Amalekites. All right? This is World War III, man. So what spirit we supposed to be in, man? We're supposed to be watching, man. Constantly watching. All right? Yahweh Shai gave us signs. He gave us tokens. So we have no excuse, man. All right? We already know what time period we living in, man. This is the latter end, man. All right? So with that, man, like I say, hopefully this lesson was edifying. Of course, there's going to be a lot more lessons on this topic. This thing is brewing, man. Man, this is beautiful, man. Kolim La Yahweh B'Shem Shah, man. All right? So that, like I say, Kolim La Yahweh B'Shem Shah. Hopefully this lesson was edifying. Like that, say Shalom.